Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Ashley Lanese, and my channel is all about spirituality and motivation, blending the two together so you can get the best benefit out of it. This week's video is on what is charisma and how to build it. As promised in last week's video, I'm gonna give you 8 tips. Let's get started. Charisma is compelling confidence or energy that motivates others to be more persistent and keen. It is a talent of charm and inspiration. It is something that can be learned. So that leads me into my first tip, which is body language. Charisma is not just about the sound of your voice or the mindset, which we'll get to later. It is also about the way you carry yourself. People that have charisma, their shoulders are normally pulled back more. They stand with this act of power. And there's a channel that I have to shout out that if you've been watching my channel, you've heard me say a gazillion times. It is Charisma on Command. I will link it below. They are the best charisma channel I've ever found. And a lot of what I will be saying will be pulled from their theories mixed with my own to give it its own original spin. But they talk about doing power poses every day. And power poses are poses that use your full circle, something I've talked about before. You need to be able to activate your whole aura. When you're in the limited circle, the small little circle, and you're just kind of going like this and not using your whole auric field, then people can tell you're lacking charisma. You're lacking that confidence. Confident people, charismatic people own the space they're in. They touch things. They feel comfortable doing it. You can normally tell when someone has charisma because they will just walk with it. But that's not because it came to them easily. A lot of people practice charisma. So doing power poses like Charisma on Command says, where you go up against a wall like this, and you want your head, your back, your butt, your heels of your feet to all line up with the wall. And thinking about that on a spiritual aspect, what you're doing essentially when you do this power pose is you're like allowing yourself to get in this practiced vibration, this practiced pose where you feel powerful. Putting your hands on your hips too and kind of like raising your chest a little is also another power pose. Standing with your legs a good ways apart is another power pose. So looking into power poses and how to carry yourself is a great way to build that charisma. Moving on to tip number 2, which is speech. There's so many different vocal exercises you can do to make yourself have that conviction in your voice that charismatic leaders have. There's one that Charisma on Command does, and I will link their long form video below. But basically, you want to use your hand to guide you, and you go, and you practice different octaves of that. You know you're doing it right when you feel your lips vibrate. You don't want to clench your teeth. The long form video that they have on that is really going to be helpful for you, but trying to change your vocal range, you want to be able to get to the lowest lows and the highest highs, and you want to have that crisp, warm sound in your voice that builds rapport and is super relatable. You also want to play around with octaves and tempo, and you can have suspense build and shrink depending on the tempos of your voice. People who are charismatic don't speak monotone. They put the emotions that they feel into their voice. There are other vocal exercises that you could do as well that I would encourage you to do your own research on and look up. Tip number 3 for how to build charisma is focus on your mindset. Having charisma is all about believing in yourself. It's all about having self-love, which is things I talk about here on my channel. It's all about self-confidence. It's all about taking it all together and working on the behind the scenes mental aspects of all this. It's knowing that you are inspiring and that you are charming, but you're also super down to earth and friendly and care about others at the same time. Charisma is a skill, and I encourage you to embark on your journey of charisma. Follow Charisma on Command because they're amazing. Watch their videos religiously. After my car accident, which I've mentioned if you're a regular on this channel, I dove into Charisma on Command and I became utterly obsessed with learning real techniques on charisma, because a lot of the times we think we know confidence, we think we know charisma, and that is the farthest thing from the truth sometimes. Don't let your arrogance get in the way. Don't think, oh, I already know that. A lot of people would DM me and be like, how are you so vivacious now? Because I was not the same person before the accident. I went through a transformation and people wanted to know how, and then I would tell them, well, I started watching these videos on confidence and charisma. And you know what some people would say to me? Oh, I already know that. And it's like, you do. All the power you have is within you. I'm not trying to discredit that you guys don't know that. I'm trying to say there's a difference between having things explicit and implicit in your head. You already implicitly know about charisma. But when you go down the path to study charisma, you bring that implicit knowledge to the explicit sphere, and that becomes a theme of your life. So yes, you probably already know about charisma, but have you taken the time to study it, to wire in the mindsets, listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who talks about wiring and firing new neurosynapses to change the habits in your brain? Have you really become obsessed with learning how to reword things you're saying so that you can evoke this charismatic energy? And when you go ahead and do that, other people will thank you for it and they will feel it, and you will help so many people along your journey. Tip number 4, charisma is all about sharing what you are most passionate about. Last week's video was on how to find your purpose in life, and your purpose in life is wrapped up in your passion. Share your passions with the world, because that is where your natural born charisma comes through. I wholeheartedly believe in the growth mindset. I believe we all have the capacity to be charismatic. I don't care if you are the most anxious and shy person on this planet, you have the capacity to learn charisma. No matter what your walk of life is, no matter what you got going on and what adversity you faced, I'm telling you right here, right now, you have the ability to be charismatic. And the reason why I have so much conviction when I say that is because I needed someone to say that to me. And so I want to be that voice for you, that echo in your head that gets you to listen, that your passion matters. And there's so many people that you can inspire if you go down that path and share your passions with the world. Tip number 5, build connection and rapport with others in order to have that charisma. Someone who's charismatic is relatable. They are somebody who is genuinely concerned about you and your life. Like, I feel people aren't genuine because the easy route is to be not genuine, but genuinely care for people, and people will feel that. You can't fake vibration. People know. Even the people who don't like you at least know what you're passionate about and at least know what you're genuine about. You can't fool them. You can't fool anybody. So you're gonna just have to go the harder route, harder if you value effort and see effort as the quantitative measurement of what is hard here. Go the route that makes you actually have to put in more work and like care from your freaking heart. Like, you have to do that. Charisma is about caring about the other person, asking about them, caring about them the same way that they care about themselves. Because when you start to take interest in people to that level, they're like, wow, this is somebody that really, really cares. I can feel that energy. So do stuff with the genuine energy from your heart. Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, who is my all-time life hero, which I will link his YouTube channel below, he says no expectations. Do stuff just because you care, and that's it. So if you want to build charisma, you have to be invested and you have to let that altruism shine through. Tip number 6, show your emotions and be vulnerable. When you tell a story, tell it with all of your emotions. Don't hold back, because when you do that, you become relatable, and charisma is about being relatable. Tip number 7 is laugh with others and be engaged in conversation. When there's a conversation happening, weigh in somehow. Like, for instance, this is just something I've always done naturally, but once I learned charisma, I allowed myself to develop it even more. When people are talking in conversation, I go, It's just a personality trait that actually me and my sisters all do. And I actually used to think I need to stop that. Like, I'm always kind of making these little mermaid type mumble noises that I need to cut out. But once I studied charisma, I realized, wait a minute, that shows the other person that I'm engaged in conversation. So you can just be like, yeah, oh yeah, right? Like, but not the fake kind. Going back to the other points, people know when you're not genuine. And you have to actually be engaged in what you're doing and who you're speaking with, because then the attention will be on you and the other person and whoever else is really fully engaged in these conversations. Show through just little words here and there as people tell their stories that you're engaged, and you will build connection with people, which is that charm, that inspiration, and that motivational energy that will radiate charisma from you. Tip number 8 is the last tip, and it is work on self-confidence. Charisma and self-confidence go hand in hand. They are two peas in a pod. And self-confidence, though, is a part of the selfhoods, which I make a lot of videos on. Like, I've made videos on self-love, I've made videos on self-care, and I will link those 2 videos below. But selfhoods are very important because they connect back to what's happening inside. The way that you become self-confident and charismatic is you do the inner work and you go down those paths to heal your mindsets. And so this tip is crucial because you need that support as well, and that invitation to make this period in your life about confidence and charisma by just doing things like watching this video, watching other videos, waking up in the morning, and making it a part of your daily routine to do confidence exercises so that you can then transcend into the most charismatic version of yourself that will benefit the world in the long run. That is everything that I have for you today. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as I will be posting more videos. Please let me know in the comment section anything you would want me to expand on. I love new ideas from you guys. I love talking to you, hearing from you, replying back to you. It warms my heart. If you also love motivational things, I post content on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. If you watch this video to the end, you are a rock star, and I will see you in the next video.